What's going on, everybody? My name is Enoch. That is my brother James. You're now tuned in to the Blood Brothers podcast. Let's go! Welcome back, everybody. Before we get going, y'all know how we like to do it. Let's bow our heads. Father in heaven, come to you right now. We thank you for this day. We thank you for this moment. Use us right now. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Amen. And amen.
Amen. What's good, bro?
Nothing, man. I'm about to just say the mission statement because we remain consistent. Our patterns will always remain the same. We're constantly trying to improve ourselves. But our mission will always be to empower men to become leaders in society under God's law. Consequently, men, women, and children will understand the foundations of what a real man is supposed to be, my friend.
That's important. That's so real right there. Now, if you don't know, we just wrapped up last week the relationship series.
Ooh, go back and check that.
Please go back and watch that. That was an awesome relational series where we talked about marriage, dating, parenting,
friendships,
co-parenting. We got into detail of everything. I feel like that was a great breakdown.
I appreciate it.
And now we got another topic. Okay. And it's almost like we've been building our foundations on these past couple of series because today we're talking about leadership. And I was thinking about it. We can't continue with this podcast if we don't speak on a topic that's in our mission statement.
True.
Empowering men to be leaders. So right now we're going to start our new topic, leadership. Now, leadership, some people may see it different ways. Some people may look at it. But we like to move on a specific foundation on leadership.
Before we get into the foundation, hold on. I want to ask you this question.
Okay.
When you hear leadership, what do you think about? When you hear a leader, what is the first thing you think about? Characteristics-wise.
Leader, it may sound weird, but when I think of leader, for some reason, the actual first thing that pops to mind is servanthood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I feel like as a leader, you have to be able and understand what being able to serve is.
Okay.
That's one thing that, and we obviously gonna break that down, but serving, that's my first thing that pops in my head when I think of leadership.
I'm very happy that you said that. Very happy. So
yes.
So,
why you say that?
All right. So when it comes to leadership, the first thing that usually pops into people's minds is somebody in a position of power who has followers.
That's true.
Right. And that's a preconceived notion that society has placed on our mentalities to believe that we're supposed to follow people. Right. So now that we're going to talk about the foundations of leadership, we have to start with the biblical aspect of it. And we obviously, our perspective is very biblical law driven.
Yeah.
So we would address Genesis 26 and when God created mankind in his image and granted them dominion, rulership over the earth and over yourself in a way because he gave you free will.
Yeah.
Right. So there's this historical presentation of what we see as a leader. So you could think of gentlemen like
boss.
Something like that. Or they believe that people in a position of power, they're leaders, and that's not always
automatically. Once you're in power, you're automatically a leader.
Exactly. And another thing too, even successful people, that doesn't make them necessarily leaders.
Yeah.
So what I would want to touch on first is the dominion rulership aspect of your creation, like you being created. If God created us in his image, we're his children, that means that he never said that we're supposed to rule over people, right? So technically you're not supposed to have followers, right? You're supposed to be a leader in your area of gifting.
Yeah.
Dr. Miles Monroe, you know, that's my guy. And he probably teaches leadership to the highest capacity. I don't really know anybody else who teaches leadership from that aspect.
Yeah, that's true.
So he basically said leaders are people who master their internal gift that God gave to them. They become successful. They have the ability to influence, right? When people choose to let you influence them, it's actually a gift from them because they're allowing their free will to choose you as a leader or someone to guide them. But you as the leader, it's very important that you understand that they're not actually following you. They're adopting or looking to your gift to guide them. It's not you that they're following. It's your gift that God placed.
And within that, they find what they're supposed to do, and they become leaders.
Exactly. In their area of gifting. See, true leadership empowers people to become. It doesn't subdue or talk down or talk negative to people because a true leader never wants to see someone fail. They never want to see someone in anything less than dominion rulership. Right? That's the organic version of leadership. Proof in the pudding is look at Jesus Christ.
Greatest leader
ever to walk this earth.
Period.
So when he was walking the earth, he had his will aligned with God's will. He knew his purpose. But within his purpose, look how many people found their mission in life. Right? And on top of that, never once have I seen him discourage someone from entering into their purpose from God.
Right? He
Always
was the ultimate leader. And you know what it is? It's almost like when you say at the end of the podcast, shoot for perfection. And if you fail, you'll still be excellent. Jesus was that perfection.
Yep.
So if we shoot for that, then if we fail, well, which we will because we won't be perfect, we can still be excellent. And one thing I noticed, this is not a religious podcast, but in the aspect of Jesus, in other religions where they don't see Jesus as God, he's still held to a high regard.
Very much so.
So when you see that, it's like he's not even bashed in the other religions that I've heard, and they speak him. They look at him not as God, but like he's a prophet. He's a great man. So that speaks about his character.
I was just about to say.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like your character had to be A1 for people across the board to say like, yo, I don't think he was that, but as a man, he was it.
He was the good. He was the good as a human being.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like if that's not enough for you to say, you know what he was doing, I want to follow what he was doing, then I don't know what to tell you.
And the dopest part about people who don't follow religion, right? I encourage them to, because that's another thing too. Like, I don't consider myself a very religious person. I'm very I'm very practical, law driven. You know, I a lot of common sense comes with my thought process.
Yeah, exactly. It's not blind faith.
Yeah, I don't have blind faith. Yeah, and people they attach faith in religion. They attach them, and it's not always that cut and dry. If you understand what I mean. So for you to be a leader, right, you actually have to have faith. It's literally impossible for leadership to come without faith, because think about the definition we gave. We said that you have to become what you're destined to be, right? Even, okay, say you don't think God put something in you to become, right? Hypothetically.
Yeah.
You still have to have faith within yourself to manifest the gifts that we call what God placed in you.
You must have faith. It's like how the Bible says it's impossible to please God without faith.
Yep.
It's impossible for you to reach your goals without faith.
100%.
Because if you don't believe that, let's say I want to buy a bread.
Yeah.
If I don't believe, I'll never be able to buy bread. So I'm not going to even try to buy that bread.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to get that bread. But if I believe like, yo, I can get that bread, I'm going to do and make the steps so that I can put myself in position to reach that bread.
Accomplishing your goals and becoming what God intended, it affords you wholeness, right? And the reason why Jesus was such a great leader, because he was holy, which is mean he was whole within his thoughts. His words was his actions. He wasn't double-minded. He conducted
he set himself apart.
Exactly. And one thing that, I admire about his lifestyle was that he didn't have to impose his knowledge on people, right? So there's one thing that I realized, and I'm working on it myself, is that not everybody wants to hear, I don't want to say the truth.
Basically, they don't
not everybody wants to come to the realization of characteristics that could, put them in a dim light or look like characteristics that, are detrimental to their mentality. Right. A lot of people don't take that self-reflection. And when you're a leader, you have to do that. Right. Because I'll tell you a little story. One of my good friends, he said to me, and I'm big on friendship. Obviously, we get to choose them. So I do my best to pick very wisely. And I said to him, I said, you can't value a relationship more than principles. Right? You can't do that. Not as a leader, because what happens is you'll start to align what's right and wrong based off of the relationship. So you can say, okay, my good friend, he cheated on his wife. Yeah, that's foul. You can look at somebody else and go, and you'll still be friends with them, but you can look at somebody else and condemn them for cheating on his wife, right? But because of the relationship, it's almost like you give people passes. Right? So he said to me, and I really took it into consideration, two things. He said to me, he goes, I don't tell my friends that they can't cheat on their girls or they can't cheat on their wives. I don't say that. I don't feel like I have the right to say that. So I said to him, I said, why? And he said, because I don't want to be a hypocrite. Right? I said, okay, that's understandable. But what my next question was, but do you cheat on your girlfriend now? Said, no. I said, well, how long has it been since you did anything? He's like, it's almost been maybe a year and a half, 2 years. But the culture that me and my friends created doesn't allow me to be honest or say these things to them, because they look at me and they go, how are you talking when you used to do such and such? Right? So in his development to becoming a leader, right, trying to break down these barriers, he has people that he's keeping close to him that are constantly reminding him of who he was. Leaders don't ever need someone that's going to hinder their growth. Right? Because think about it, we're all leaders. Right? Not everybody's going to manifest their leadership abilities, but when God created us, he created us with an image, and it was his image. And we all have to be able to make conscious decisions to accomplish what he intended, so that way we can be the leaders that he destined us to be.
I think that the major problem that we find where is more followers than leaders is that I think a lot of people don't know how to tap into that, because they don't really have that. You know how we're always accountable for things and always checking on ourselves. And if you're not constantly doing that, you kind of stay at a certain level. there's when you're able to constantly look at yourself, there's a certain level that you can get to. And when you don't, you're kind of stuck.
No, you are stuck.
Yeah, you're in a place that there's a wall there that you'll never be able to get past. Because if you can't look at yourself of what you do wrong and be able to correct yourself, you'll continue to make the same mistakes. And how can you lead anyone if you're not able to tell them, oh yeah, I see that, I made that mistake, let me show you what I did to get past that. Because now me being able to tell you, now I can push you forward in where you're going in life. And now you can reach where you're supposed to go. But if I'm stuck in a place where I'm not working on myself constantly, so I can't help you with that situation, I can't help you get past that because I'm not in a position where I'm not putting myself in position to grow, so where I can look back and go through that and help somebody else. That's why I look at things that we go through. What you go through isn't, because something, you know, you go through something, you be like, yeah, I don't even know why I went through that. But when you're constantly working yourself, you look back and you be like, oh, that's why I went through that. And then somebody else come and you be like, yo, I went through that same exact thing. Wow, that's crazy. Let me tell you how I got through that. And that's why I look at situations so differently. When I'm going through stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, that's gonna come back to help somebody else. I'm gonna use that.
I think even with that, it shows that leaders empower people.
Yes.
Right. Yes. I struggle. It's not even that I struggle. All right, no, I do struggle. I struggle with you know, that ride or die friend mentality. Right? I really do. It's very hard for me. And I do consider myself a leader, and I'm still manifesting who I'm supposed to be. Right. But I know through my success and through my success, I will gain influence. And my goal within my influence is to empower people to become what God intended them to be. Exactly. And I want to have the resources to help them accomplish that. The problem that I run into personally, as you know, if you want to say a leader, is that I really, I'm trying to say this the nicest way possible.
I already know.
It really bothers me if someone could identify moral behaviors, right, or immoral behaviors and deem them wrong. Yeah. Right. But then on the other side of the token, say, I'm not there yet to correct it. Right. Because to me, it's like once you admit that something is wrong, that means that you have an opportunity to make it right.
You've seen the other side.
Exactly. You know that it's wrong. So when a lot of people give these, I just call them watered down excuses, like, you know, I got to take, you know, small steps or whatever the case is, I struggle with that because we're talking about immoral behavior, right? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the little things. We're talking about moral behavior. Because what happens is when I look at leaders, I don't want to say you have to be perfect, but your lifestyle has to match your words. Because I can't tell anybody anything if my lifestyle is not matching what I'm saying. Right. So from when my friend said that to me, I said to him, why would you want those type of people around you? Right. Right. As a leader, you have to be okay with going on the journey by yourself. You have to be okay with that, because the way I see it is this: when Jesus, when he did all those miracles, right? All of a sudden his following went up almost 30, 40, 50 people, right? Then he knew why they were following him, because of what he could do for them. And he challenged that, because that's not the type of environment he wanted to create. But even when he got to his 12 disciples, he even said something that was very powerful. He basically asked them, are you guys going to go too? Like, you can, like, basically saying you can go too. Because regardless of who was with him, he was willing to go through the process. And I think once you start adopting that.
Even within that, he got tight at them like, yo, I've been with y'all all this time. Y'all still don't got it?
Yeah, that's true too. Exactly.
You know what I
100%.
mean?
And even, like, it's like, but he understood that there are going to be some things you're going to have to go through by yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And I
Yeah.
agree. I do agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when I look at society and the lack of leadership, I think that's where it becomes more of a challenge for a person like me who has very low patience for small word like stupidity, right?
Yeah.
I have very low patience for that.
It
But
stems back to the men and the
yeah,
mission statement.
yeah, no, it's true. It's
Empower
true.
men to take their rightful place as leaders.
Yeah. So how
Because
like let me ask you a question, right? So
uh-huh.
as a as a as a man, a
Mm-hmm.
husband, a
Yeah.
friend, right? What do you feel is the most important aspect of leadership?
Most important aspect of
Or one
leader.
of the most important, because obviously there are
Yeah,
a
there's
few,
so
but
much. One thing I feel you really need empathy.
okay.
I think you need empathy because you got to be able to come down and relate to people.
Okay.
You know, one thing I used to say to my youngest, I used to be like, yo, just if you played a sport, let's say you played football, right?
Mm-hmm.
And your new coach never played football, never watched football,
Mm-hmm.
never heard of football, but became the coach.
Mm-hmm.
You would look at him like, I'm not listening to what he got to say. Like
Mm-hmm.
you know nothing about what's going on here.
Yeah.
But if you got a coach that's been where you've been,
Mm-hmm.
that knows the sport, that loves the sport, I've been there, you're gonna be more keen to listen. Like, oh, okay, let me listen to what he got to say. If he's
Mm-hmm.
been to the next level, let me listen to what he got to say
Mm-hmm.
because he's been where I've been. And as a leader, if you can't in no way be able to relate, it's almost hard for me to look at you as not even a leader, as someone that understands. So if I can see that you understand, I can open up more to you.
Yeah.
I can express certain things to you that I wouldn't express to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you call yourself leading a group of people and none of them feel like they can relate to you,
Mm-hmm.
there'll always be, that's what I call like cults. Those
Yeah.
cults where it's just we follow what you say and we don't know where to go. Whatever you say,
Yeah.
that's what it is. We don't have no plan. We don't know what to do with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
No, you have to be able to empathize so I can show you like, yo, I've been through that.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I got through that. And if you're not able to relate to people, it's hard for you to lead people in any direction.
I agree with that. And I think that's where I really struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But
Yeah.
I think my challenge is more of from a moral aspect,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The moral stance and the character of a person.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it becomes very challenging for me
Mm-hmm.
because when I hear certain things, right?
Yeah.
I hate. I'm not a big. What is the best word to say? I'm not big on excuses.
Yeah. You don't like feeling bad for people.
It's not even. I don't even want to call it feeling bad. I just because all right, I do feel bad, but it's
Yeah.
only to a certain extent.
Uh-huh.
I don't feel bad enough to enable you.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel bad enough to help you in the sense of if you want to change,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
I'm not gonna waste my time.
Exactly. So for me, when it comes to, and we always talk about like the age groups that we want to work with, right? For
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
I have a lot more empathy and sympathy for children. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's that I feel like that's what God called me to
Mm-hmm.
empower children.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way. And of course, adults if they want that type of, influence.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
where I run into a lot of my issues when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to people
Yeah.
is the moral implications and the decisions that are made that are called mistakes. Like, oh, I made a mistake. It's like no.
Yeah.
Like I just can't accept that. Oh, it's for you to violate moral standards. It's not a mistake to me. It's hard because to me, to violate a moral standard, it's premeditated. It's never. I don't. To me, a mistake is something that you don't seek. Like if I trip and fall over a crack in the concrete, that's a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't trip and fall into another woman's bed. That's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. That's
would you say it's not a mistake, but it's just not thinking clearly?
No, that's not a mistake.
You wouldn't say that either?
No, because I mean, you're thinking clearly. You're just thinking about yourself, right? So, This is the thing. When I consider leadership in becoming what God intended for you to become, in gaining success and influence through your area of gifting, for me, in order to accomplish that, that means that God has to trust you, right? Yeah. He has to trust you. So you have to be aligned with his will, which means that you have to be aligned with his morals, right? So for you to accomplish that, they go hand in hand. So when you say you're a leader, right, and you do master your area of gifting, I'm not saying that it automatically means that you mastered the moral aspect of it, right? But for me, if I'm looking to say, okay, so I want somebody to be my role model, right? Because I do believe it's okay to copy somebody as long as it's the right person, right? If it's the right person, I'm okay with that. That's a good role model. Everybody needs someone to emulate or a good role model to guide you. But the first thing I look at is the morals and the character of the person that I'm trying to emulate. And if it doesn't line up with God's morals, right, by the way they conduct their lives, then I can't consider you a leader or a healthy leader. Because I mean, let's be honest. There are many leaders who lead people astray. There's a lot of sheeps and wolves, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So I guess in that aspect, I'm talking about the essence of becoming who you're supposed to be and making sure you're aligning with who God intended you to be in his purpose.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I mean, it's hard for people to understand your sense of I guess mistakes.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't take that full accountability for their actions.
Yeah.
So there'll be more like, what are you bugging? I can make a mistake. I was bugging. But they don't look at it as it was a conscious mistake. It's almost like mistakes.
And can you have a conscious mistake?
That's what I'm saying. It's like it gives it that leeway, like, oh, I made a mistake, so it's okay. It's almost, it gives it like, oh, it's okay, I just messed up. No, you was conscious when you did it.
Yeah.
But people that don't constantly work on themselves, they won't see it that way. So it's almost like what you're saying will be foreign.
Yeah.
It's almost like they can't speak that language. Like, what? What do you mean? I made a mistake. I was bugging. Like, it's okay. I was bugging. But you're looking at it as like, yeah, you were bugging, but you were in your mind. You were in your regular mind frame when you did it. So how can you look at it and like it's okay? And when you look at it like it's a mistake, it's almost like you're not taking no accountability for it. So that means it's going to happen again.
That's true. That's true.
And I think that's where you are with it.
Yeah, I get stuck. This has been my battle for a while now, you know. Yeah. But for me, like, to be an efficient leader, there can be no stone unturned. There can't be any skeletons in your closet. These things are very important because I take great pride in, and like I said, I can only speak for myself, but I take great pride in living a moral lifestyle, right? And when I say morals, everybody has different morals. So let me be clear. I take great pride in following God's laws, in his moral stance on how to deal with situations and people. You know, that means a lot to me, but you can't expect everybody to have that same enthusiasm when it comes to that topic, because let's be honest, for you to really look at God's morals and his standards for you, that means you have to kill all the desires of the flesh.
Oh yeah. And that's
right?
not easy to do.
And it's not an easy process.
Yeah.
So I get that, where I would rather somebody tell me, if you tell me, like when somebody says to me, oh, I'm just not there yet. You're just not where. You're not able to comprehend what's being done.
Yeah.
You're saying you're not mature enough to have this kind of conversation or live this certain lifestyle? For me, it's like, if that's the case, then you shouldn't have put yourself in certain positions of, meaning titles of leadership, meaning a husband, meaning a father, meaning the CEO of a company, these type of things, because where that title lands, your morals can't keep you, right? It's like, I say this all the time. You know, we always talking about kings and kingdoms and stuff, and it's like, think about all the kingdoms and the kings that were risen up and that fell for the same moral standards being violated. It's a constant proven fact that if you don't follow morals as a leader, you cannot be the leader. Like, I don't know how else to tell you. If you can't, or put it like this, I'll tell you, let's give an example. Let's talk about the church, right? Okay, so let's say a pastor cheats on his wife. Right? Matter of fact, your boy, what's his name? Damn, what's the guy's name? I don't remember his name. Dude that cheated on his wife and his wife came out. That Pastor Gray.
Oh, Pastor John Gray.
Yeah. Right. So we'll use his reasoning. Right?
Yeah.
So he had whatever reason. I don't know if it was cheating. I don't know the whole scandal. I didn't get into it. I just knew there was some type of violation, and his wife came out, said whatever. Right. For me, if you're in a position of power and you're representing an authoritative figure, and people are looking to you for guidance and trusting your words, you need to make sure that your life is reflecting those words.
Yeah, that's a powerful position right there.
Right? And this is what bothers me the most, is that I've never heard any other leaders say or go to the congregation and go, you know, all of you guys are leaders too. Y'all are really not supposed to be following me. Y'all are supposed to be figuring out what God intended you to become, so you can be a leader in your area, gifting, and then we can become one body and work together for the goodness of the kingdom. I've never heard anybody said that.
Yeah, that's supposed to be the purpose of church. And
yes, I agree.
It's supposed to be the purpose. Yeah,
I agree 100%. So when I see, you know, what they call leaders not doing that, automatically I'm gonna go to what it says in Genesis about who God's people are, which is everybody. Right? And what he intended for you to become. And then I'm gonna measure that with what is being taught. Now, if they don't align, which one are you gonna choose? Right?
Yeah, that's true.
It becomes one of those type of questions, one of those, you know, those deep thoughts where you have to really take some real, you know, contemplation about, like, what's the truth.
That's why I always caution people, like, whoever you're following is cool, but make sure it aligns with point blank period with God. Like, make sure, I don't care who in leadership, who you're following. If you mess with them, cool. But at the same time, be conscious.
Very conscious.
Don't just, like I said earlier, blind faith. Does it line up with what you believe? Does it line, whatever you believe, in any aspect of life, wherever you're trying to do, whatever you're doing, does who you're following align with where you're trying to go, what you believe, how you see yourself? That's where you measure it, because you can put people on a high pedestal so high that you end up being lost and don't even know where you are because you're so stuck in that person.
True.
That's why anybody, if I'm watching you, is like, all right, cool, I mess with you saying. But all right, now how does this align with me, with what I'm doing, where I'm trying to go? What does this mean in my life, with my family? Does this align with God? Because you know it's God before anything. So I ain't gonna go off what you say. All right, cool. All right, that's interesting. I never heard that. Let me see what God say about that. If you just go off of whatever somebody say,
yep,
that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
And truth of the matter is, when people conduct themselves in that manner, that's actually not being a leader.
Yeah.
In retrospect, because think about what we're saying. We're not saying that you shouldn't have a role model, but you want your role model to align with the principles of a lifestyle that is healthy for you to become successful.
Yeah.
Right? So if you put people on a pedestal before God, you're doing it backwards.
Yeah, you're not
because
aligned.
anybody who's if you put somebody on a pedestal, their word should direct you to the creator.
Yes.
Right? Yes. That is extremely important. And I think we both always took that approach in the aspect of trying to improve ourselves. Right? We always trace it back to what is our original purpose? Does this align with what God's saying? And we'll question it to the point of, let's make sure this is the truth.
Yeah.
Because we don't want blind faith. We don't want to be lost leaders. Right?
Wow. Lost leaders.
Nah, it's the truth. And the truth is, there's so many people who just follow people blindly.
Yeah.
And you know what? I guess the truth of the matter is that they follow these people because their morals align with them. So so if I like selling drugs, I'm gonna make somebody that sells drugs my idol.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, if I'm into the, the stripping world, then I'll make somebody in the stripping world my idol. So what happens is, when you do that, you'll get leadership. But remember, if the leadership doesn't align with biblical principles, it's going to fall. It has to. And let me just caution what I'm saying too. The reason why we address biblical principle is because I've never seen somebody or something create a being or a product and not know how it operates. Right? I've never seen that. So it would be irresponsible and foolish of me to look to someone else for the process of operating as a dominion ruler when you're not my creator. That's foolish.
Yeah.
That's a foolish act.
Yeah.
So if I am looking at someone as a role model, they have to be, guiding me towards my creator.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the creator knows how his product works.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That goes back to what I said about when you're a leader, you got to be able to serve. You got to be able to help somebody. Because if you're just a leader and you don't help nobody and you're just a leader by what I do, you have to be able to help other people. That has to be your goal. I'm reaching my goal. I want to help you reach your goal. Like if I had, like when I have a company, when I have a business, I have people working for me. If I'm interviewing somebody, I'm going to ask them, where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be? Is this company the only place where what are your dreams? And I feel like businesses should incorporate that more for people that work for them, because that's how your company will grow. If you have people in there that's motivated for more. Because look at these two scenarios. I have someone come in for an interview, right? And I don't push them into there's more. you can get to another level at this job. You can reach manager. You can meet supervisor. You can reach CEO. That gives them like, oh, I got room to grow at this job.
Yeah.
And then somebody else come in, they're like, yeah, it's minimum wage, but there's not much opportunities for growth. But in your area, you can get overtime, but that's only position that's available. You're gonna come to work knowing that, okay, this is where I stand, and I'm not gonna go further than this.
Yep.
But if you have someone ahead of you telling you like, oh, I used to work at that, I used to be a cashier, I used to do that, and you know what happened? I was working, became a manager, became supervisor, not work my way up, and now I'm the CEO of this thing. So now you have a different mindset, like, oh, I can be more. That's the same thing as a leader. You shouldn't have people like, oh, where you at? You have depression. Man, yeah, that's something you're gonna deal with the rest of your life. I'm sorry.
Dang, boy.
Yeah.
Must be lonely in that mind of yours.
Yeah, that depression, that's something you're gonna have to deal with for the rest of your life. Or would you wanna have someone that's a leader like, oh, depression? I went through that. Let me show you how to get through that. You can get through that. That's something that I know it's hard, but you can get through that. That's gonna have your body's gonna wake up to that.
Get empowered.
Yeah, your spirit's gonna wake up to like, oh, I can do more. And that's what a great leader does.
I agree. Man, listen, we just started our foundations of leadership.
Yeah, we're gonna get deep into it in next episodes. We're gonna talk about social media. We gotta talk about that. We gotta talk about the so-called leaders in this
the political scene,
social world, political. Yeah, we gotta get into all of that.
Well, we'll talk about leaders, and just keep in mind, a true leader always leads you back to the creator.
That's a fact.
If you think anything different, it just do logic, right? I'll give you an example. Would you ever take your Apple Mac, your MacBook, to Microsoft Word to go get fixed? No, right?
They're gonna look at you like, this is Microsoft. Like, yeah, but I got a laptop. No, this is Microsoft.
Exactly. The creator knows the manuscript.
Facts.
And we'll leave you guys with that. We'll see you next week. You got anything to leave for the people?
It's gonna be ups and downs.
Woo!
Even within leadership.
Woo!
But always keep God before anything. Period.
I respect it. Y'all know my motto: shoot for perfection. So even if you fall short, you still excellent. We're gonna see y'all next week. Thanks for watching. Later.
Yep.